but you want to boycott the one player, looking right at you, Angel Reese and Asia Wilson, one player that has caused the revenue to go way up in the monetary values. That's what you want to do. You think you're helping these women?
NBA civil war has officially broken out. On one side, Aja Wilson and supporters are allegedly calling for fans to boycott Caitlin Clark's games. On the other, the millions of new fans Caitlin has brought to women's basketball can't understand why anyone would try to tear down the sensation.
What they're mad about, 41 nationally televised games, and they are furious over it. I can't understand.
The league has never been more popular. Fever games are selling out arenas, ESPN is showing more WNBA than ever before, and social media is buzzing about women's basketball. Yet, instead of celebrating this growth, some players and their fans seem determined to fight it. The real reason behind this boycott attempt exposes the uncomfortable truth about fame, jealousy, and the future of women's sports.
The original fans, activist fans, that's what they are, all right? Just keeping it real. They don't like the fact that you want to watch these games. They don't like the fact that you are 3 or 4 times the amount of them.
Did you see what's happening in the WNBA right now? There's literally a civil war breaking out between fans over Caitlin Clark getting 41 nationally televised games this season, more than any other player in the league. The tension has reached a boiling point, and it's creating divisions that nobody saw coming.
Right here, Caitlin Clark in the Fever will have more nationally televised game than any NBA player this year. Sorry, LeBron. Sorry, Luka. Sorry, every other player in the league. Let's be honest. I've seen the NBA ratings. She's beaten most of them.
Some WNBA fans are actually planning to boycott Indiana Fever games to intentionally drop viewership numbers. Can you believe that? They're actively trying to reduce audience numbers just because they think Clark is getting too much attention. It's not just random internet trolls either. There are people connected to the WNBA media ecosystem spreading this idea that fans should illegally stream games or not watch at all when the Fever play.
So they're all mad right now, furious, and my goodness, guys, they're talking boycott. Oh, what? Oh, there's strength in numbers. There's tens of you.
That's what's really mind-blowing about this situation, the numbers. Caitlin Clark will appear on national TV more than any NBA player this year. Not just any WNBA player, any NBA player, period. LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Stephen Curry, all of these superstars are getting less TV time than a WNBA rookie. That's absolutely unprecedented in basketball history. But this isn't just about who gets more screen time. This is about a massive shift in who controls the WNBA narrative.
And yes, I understand. This is a very, very small minority. It is a very small minority of people, but it is a loud, vocal minority. And this is not the general public. This is not the general population.
For years, a small but vocal group of hardcore fans have been the main voices in WNBA discussions. They've supported the league through thick and thin, often when nobody else was paying attention. Now, suddenly, millions of new fans are pouring in, many who never watched women's basketball before, and they're changing everything about how the league operates and who gets attention.
Right? We're not supposed to talk about it out loud, maybe. That's a massive part. Straight white girl's a big part of it too. I mean, it's out loud. It's out loud. It just came out of my mouth like that. Just easy peasy. So they're mad, and they are calling for boycott.
Mad, and they are calling for boycotts. And when you look at what's really happening, the boycott movement reveals an uncomfortable truth. Some longtime WNBA supporters would rather see lower viewership than see Caitlin Clark succeed. They're willing to potentially damage the league's growth just to prove a point. WNBA media figures have expressed shock at these calls, pointing out that this vocal minority doesn't represent most fans' views.
The Slows are now planning to, quote, boycott Indiana Fever games to affect the viewership. They really think they matter in the big scheme of things.
The reality is we're seeing a classic case of gatekeeping. Original fans, who feel ownership over a niche interest, are suddenly watching it go mainstream and feeling threatened by the newcomers. It's the same pattern we've seen in music, comics, gaming, any subculture that suddenly finds itself in the spotlight.
If us sports fans wanted to watch this crap before Caitlin Clark got involved, we would have been watching it. I mean, I own 2 sports channels. I get paid for talking about sports for a living. I was not watching this league.
Let's be honest about what's really happening. There's a current of jealousy running through parts of the WNBA community that nobody wants to acknowledge. Some established WNBA media personalities have openly expressed frustration over Clark's meteoric rise, suggesting it somehow undermines the efforts of longtime players who've built the league. This sentiment is especially strong among older fans and media figures who suddenly feel threatened by all the new attention Clark is bringing.
Is it possible to boycott just one team's games? Like we all just illegally stream them if they're playing one of our teams? ? That's the plan. Okay, Deidre.
Think about the psychological dynamics at play here. For years, these dedicated insiders nurtured a league that received minimal mainstream coverage. They developed expertise, built communities, and established themselves as authorities. Then suddenly, this rookie arrives and attracts millions of new eyes overnight, attention that veterans with incredible talent never received despite years of elite performance. That kind of overnight success is bound to trigger complicated feelings.
Yeah, I'm talking about the old WNBA media. I'm not talking about the ones that are in 5 years' time they'll still be there. The old WNBA media that are shaking their fist at the screen every single time they see somebody that was not there with them when no one was watching getting an opportunity in the media that they didn't get, even though they're sitting there in spaces with Twitter trolls talking nonsense about players.